What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Progressive Action TV. I am your host, Tremel Thompson, and today we have a very, very interesting show, very interesting conversation. And I have with me today Hakim Gibson. Mr. Gibson, how you doing today, sir?
Doing well. How's everything with you?
Everything is good, man. I came across a video interview you have done on YouTube. And I know my people is like, Tremel, what is this about? Arrested while having a legal gun permit in New York. And, that's exactly what happened to you. Now, before we get into the story, I want to tell you guys who Mr. Gibson is. Mr. Gibson has a Instagram page, right? What's the name of the Instagram page, Mr. Gibson?
Perception of law enforcement.
Perceptions of Law Enforcement. And I'm going to actually show you guys what the page looks like, just to show you guys the work that he does. As you can see, Perceptions of Law Enforcement, over 40,000 followers. The pictures are very nice, and what he does is he take very nice pictures of law enforcement. I really hope someone do that with transit workers one day. But these are some very nice pictures of law enforcement, and it's some great work that you do. Now, the title of the show, as I said earlier, is Arrested While Having a Legal Gun in New York. How did you end up getting arrested with a legal gun in New York, in Long Island, New York?
Yeah, that that's the same question that I asked myself. How on earth did I get arrested with a legal firearm in New York? But I got arrested basically I got arrested by a rogue cop. His name is Joey Casal, Joseph T. Casal, and this was somebody that I knew for a while. This wasn't somebody that I just met. This was somebody that I knew prior to actually COVID taking place, when the law enforcement page was just starting. As a matter of fact, this was somebody that I knew before I hit 10,000 followers. This is somebody that I knew prior to the George Floyd riots, and he was one of the first MTA cops that I've actually taken a photo of. I remember like it was yesterday. I took a photo of him. He was ecstatic. He was excited. He's like, I'm finally gonna get my photos taken by this guy. I took his photo on Lexington Avenue, right around the corner from 42nd Street. I took his photo right in front of his RMP at Lexington Avenue, right at Grand Central. And this was somebody that we were always joking around. Like, I never took any of the jokes that he did personally. I knew how cops are. I know how cops are. The dark sense of humor, the jokes, the pranks, the roasting, the memes, the photoshopping somebody's head on somebody else's body, everything. I totally understood it. So I never took anything that he did personally. And you know what? I never took the fact that he would, do certain things. Like, he would tell me, oh, he would run my plates, and he would tell me, bro, you have this many tickets or that many tickets. And I never took it personally. I was like, bro, it's like, I just laughed at it but then I realized it's like, after this happened, I'm like, what's so funny is that no other cop has ever done that.
Let me ask you a question. You said that he was an MTA cop. Do you mean like Metropolitan Transportation Authority
Yes.
cop?
Yes, like, meaning that yes, he has jurisdiction over the Long Island Railroad. There, as a matter of fact, I believe they have statewide jurisdiction, but they have jurisdiction over the Long Island Railroad, the Metro North, and also the New York City subway. But you won't really find them in the New York City subway as much, except for the main transfer points or the main hubs like Grand Central Terminal, 34th Street, Penn Station, and Atlantic Avenue, Barclays Center. That's the only places that you're going to find them. But other than that, they have statewide jurisdiction. Yes.
Now, you claim that he was your friend. What made you think that he was your friend?
We were always joking around. He would always call me. Like, I mean, we both drive the same cars, and he would call me one day and he would ask me. He's like, "Hey, I have a problem with the AC, or I have a problem with this," and I would be able to tell him, "Hey, I think it might be the water pump. You need to get that replaced." We'd call each other. We'd joke around with each other. You know, I remember when I went to Vermont. He would call me and check up on me and everything like that. So that's what made me think that he was a friend. We never really like hung out like outside of him working, because we both had different schedules. MTA police has a different schedule, and I have a different schedule, so we never really saw each other. outside of work. But I thought he was a friend. I've never had, and that's the crazy part. I've never had a problem with him. We were never in a fuss. We were, people were calling me. People at one point, they were joking around with me. They were like, "Yo, did you sleep with his fiance?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "We've never had a falling out. We've never had an issue with each other."
Now, could you explain to the people how did you end up getting arrested while having a legal firearm in New York? Let us know what happened that day exactly, where you were at, what exactly you were doing where you were at, and things of that nature.
Okay, so I was actually, my car was parked at the intersection of Massapequa Avenue and Park Boulevard. When I came to the funeral, I actually drove. And
Now,
as a matter of,
hold on, to be clear, whose funeral you were at?
I was at the NYPD line of duty funeral service for the fallen officer, Jonathan Diller, that was killed in the line of duty on March 24th.
Okay. So
So
yeah,
he
finish
was,
the
yeah,
story. Yeah.
shot and killed in the line of duty March 24th. And then the wake was held on Thursday, and then the actual funeral service was held on Saturday at 9 a.m. in the morning. So I went there. All right. I had a three-piece suit on, and I had a trench coat. I had a trench coat from Zara. Right. I wore that, and it's getting closer to, we're in the springtime already, but we're getting closer to summer. But it was supposed to be 60 degrees that day, which it was. It was, spring morning is always chilly. So I put my jacket on, and I had my IDs, my concealed carry license, and my New York State ID inside the jacket. I figured I would have been in the jacket, but I came to the funeral. Nassau County said I could park right here. I parked right there at the side, Massapequa Avenue and Park Boulevard. I parked there. Then after I parked there, I took the jacket off. I said, "You know what?" I got outside. I'm like, "Yo, it's gonna be way too hot. If I go further down, all right, it's gonna be a pain. It's literally gonna be a pain in the ass to take the jacket off, then walk back with it, lugging 2 DSLR cameras with me, one weighing more than the other." So I just said, "Okay, let me leave it there." Taking photos of everyone. No one at the funeral bothered me. I'm wearing a three-piece suit once again. Three-piece suit, pants, jacket, vest. All right. And I've taken photos of so many officers that were there. I've taken photos of Nassau County, fire marshals, um, Nassau County Police Department, Suffolk County, guys that I knew, guys that were married to, that are married to detectives on NYPD. Took photos of everyone. Took photos of a cop from Bayonne, New Jersey. I took photos of everyone. I took photos of Custom Border Patrol. So at the time when I got arrested, before I got arrested, I was actually taking photos of the NYPD K9 unit, the MTA Police K9. I was pretty much taking photos of everyone. You there?
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. I was taking photos of pretty much everyone that was there. And at the time, the procession came down, motorcycles. So I photographed some of the motorcycles coming down. Then I photographed some of the motorcycles. Then I started taking photos of the canine officers and the dogs. I took some photos of corrections canine, and after that, the NYPD canine lieutenant walked up to me and said, "Akeem, please, if you can, just do me a favor." I was like, "Hey, what's that?" He was like, "Please, if you can, get these photos out to me whenever you can, as soon as possible, but whenever you can, don't kill yourself." And I said, "Yes, I got you." I said, "Listen, as soon as I even get to my car, I'm gonna put some of the photos on my phone. I'm gonna start working on the photos. I'll probably be up all night until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning working on photos and putting them up there." So I'm talking to the lieutenant, and then all of a sudden, I didn't even know that Joey was coming to the funeral. But even if I didn't know, I didn't think he would have been a bother. All right. So Joey comes out of nowhere, and the suit's covering it, but the in the waistband holster is at the front. I preferred it would have been even more concealed at the side, but it would have stuck out, and I'm already wearing a skinny suit, so it would have stuck out a bit. But I'm wearing it in the way.
What kind of gun were you carrying?
I was carrying a Glock 30S. So the Glock 30S is between subcompact and compact. The 19, which is what you'd see cops using, all right?
Mhm.
That that would be compact. The Glock 26, if you ever notice some of the detectives, it's basically like it's a baby Glock, right? That would be subcompact. The Glock 30S is basically it's in between subcompact and compact. So it's in between a Glock 19. It's in between a Glock 19 and a Glock 26, and that's what I was carrying. So it's not too big of a firearm, right? And I also have a Glock 22, which is 40 caliber, but that's the same exact size as a Glock 17, and that's what I pretty much had.
Okay.
So I was carrying the Glock 30S with me that day, and it's concealed. It's the jacket, the vest is over it, but you can still see a little bulge in the front. All right, and so he comes up to in front of the lieutenant and starts yelling at me. He's like, "Hakeem, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I doing? Like, what on earth are you talking about?" He's like, "What are you doing? You have your gun on you. Don't you have your gun on you?" He's like, I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, but you don't have a permit for that gun." And I'm like, "But wait.
And we talking
What
about Casal. We talking about Joe Casal.
Yes, Joe Casal, MTA police." And I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, I don't get this. First off, I don't get this. I do not get this. You knew I had a permit because when I got the permit, I told him that I got my permit. I told him that I had a permit, which was one of the worst things I could have done. But I told him that I had a permit because I was shooting at the range on Tuesday when I went to go pick up my guns. And he texts me, he messages me on Instagram and said, "Bro, you're obsessed with guns." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm obsessed with guns." I'm like, "But you can't say anything, even if you wanted to, because I have a permit." And he was like, "Oh, nice." Then he was like, "Oh, what permit do you have? Is it a concealed carry or is it a residence home permit?" And I'm like, "Dude, I have a concealed carry permit. Why would I want to get a residence permit anyway? I can't take it out the house unless I'm going to the range. I cannot conceal it. Either has to remain in two places, either the trunk of your car, out at the range, or in a safe at home. Why would I want to be bothered with that?" So he disappears, and I said, "You know what?" I tap my ID, and the whole time I'm tapping my pockets, and I realize I left my IDs, all that. I left that all in the car. Went to go get, and so in my mind, I shouldn't even be nervous at all, because it's like it makes no sense to be nervous. I have a permit. I run to the car. I went looking for it, couldn't find it, and I'm like, it must have slipped somewhere. Went back because I left my bag in the corrections K9 vehicle. Went back, looked, wasn't in there. So I was going back again. Some Bridgeport officers that know me by my page wanted a couple pictures, and I was about to take a group photo of them real quick before I went to go get the ID. Joey comes back again, starts yelling at me in front of the officer, says, "Get here." He said, "Get to your car now." And I'm like, "Okay, Joey, I'm going to my car." And in the meantime, we're walking. I'm like, "Joey, you're pissed off, but why are you making a scene out of this?"
And he's making this scene, to be clear, at a funeral.
Yes, at a funeral service.
Wow.
All right. And it's funny because one of the Bridgeport officers said, "Listen, I really thought you got kicked out. I didn't know that you got snatched." And so it's funny because another friend of mine works for another department. He said to me, he was a part of the procession. He was like, "Dude, I saw you and I was just about to get off my bike and come and say what's up." And he was like, "Bro, as soon as I got down there, I heard that you got snatched." And he was like, "I was so mad about the situation." He's like, "You of all people did not deserve what took place."
So, all right, he creates this scene. You get arrested. You go to the precinct. What happens next?
So wait, I didn't even get to the precinct yet.
Okay.
So I get arrested. He comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Yo," he's like, "Hakeem, stop right there." Walks up to me, grabs me by my shoulder, rips the gun out of the waistband, gives it to the Nassau County cops. Big scene takes place because you know what? If you ever seen the movies where suburban, like a police suburban is coming down the block and you see one guy hanging off of it,
Yeah.
that's exactly what took place in that. That's exactly what took place. You saw the police suburban coming down with one guy. That was Nassau County ESU, basically SWAT team, coming down. All right, sat in the RMP, and I'm hearing Joey talk shit about me. He's saying to the other cops over there, he's like, "Yeah, this kid is a psycho. He got disqualified from this agency. Yeah, he's obsessed with guns." And then he tells the cop, he's like, "Yeah, go check the magazine. If it has more than 10 rounds in there, he's fucked. And I'm like, well, fortunately for me, but unfortunately for you, I follow the law. I have only 10 rounds in the magazine. And plus, in that Glock, you can only fit 10 rounds in there. So unless I have an extended magazine, yes, I followed the law, regardless of, you know, what you think of me and what you're portraying me as to the other cops around you.
So he rips the gun out. Obviously, you get arrested, but you have a legal permit.
Yes.
What happens? How you go? How do you go through the system after they could verify your permit was legal?
Oh, but they found out that they first off, they had the clipboard. They didn't even have to take me to the precinct. They could have ran it 3 ways, and I'm not even a cop, and I know this. They could have ran it. They could have taken the serial number of the gun. They could have ran it that way. They had the physical permit in their hand. They could have ran it that way. They could have ran it either over I don't know if Nassau County gives them a job phone. I know that NYPD, they have job phones. I don't expect, like, if this was NYPD, I wouldn't expect them to have their job phones because they're in their class A's. But majority, they could have, if they had a job phone, they could have ran it over the job phone. They could have ran it over the radio, or they could have went in their car and they could have ran it over the computer in the car, and it would have turned up that this guy has a permit. It would have probably told them when the permit was issued, when is it expired. It would have told them everything that they needed to know. But they didn't do that. They told me that they, I guess, have no phone connection. They're trying to get a hold of 1PP. They couldn't get a hold of them. They will get told me I'm not being placed under arrest. They're just detaining me. And that was pretty much it. All right. Yeah, they took me to the precinct, sat there for like nearly 3 hours. They said, we're gonna bring you back out. We're gonna speak. The detectives are gonna speak to you. Then after that, they said, okay, we're gonna bring you out for fingerprinting and you're gonna get your photo taken. And I'm like, yeah, this is an arrest. So I asked them, I was like, is this an arrest? And they said yes. They didn't tell me what I was being placed under arrest for. I didn't find that out until I went to go speak with the detectives, and they told me that I was being placed under arrest for criminal possession of a firearm, rifle, or shotgun in a sensitive location.
I mean, all right. They said sensitive location. You were at a police officer's funeral. Are funerals considered sensitive locations?
The church is considered sensitive location, but I wasn't anywhere near the church to begin with in the first place. I wasn't even in a 2,000 feet range from the church.
Wow. Now, this boggles my mind because, you know, it's obvious that you're pro police. Just going by your Instagram page, you know a lot of police officers. Nobody from NYPD could have intervened to say,
Well,
let us verify his license and so he could go on about his business.
well, the problem is all the NYPD officers, they were all the way up there. They were all the way up by the church. Where this took place was literally one. I forgot what's the main road that I came down on, but I was all the NYPD officers, all the other agencies that know me, that could have vouched for me. They were all up by the church already.
Now, while you was at the funeral, did you take a picture of Casal himself? Did he ask for a
No,
picture? Was there any communication besides the he has a gun? Do you have your gun on you?
no, there was nothing. I didn't even know he was at the funeral. Didn't even know he was coming.
Wow. Now, earlier in the show, you said that you considered him a friend, and he used to run your license plates for fun and things like that. By me hearing that, I don't feel like he was running it for fun or being friendly. It seems as if he was using his police powers to harass you in some form or fashion. Do you think that if you had like anything outstanding on your car, your license, that Joey would have arrested you?
Joey, listen, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
Now, all right, so you had a court date. Oh, did you had a court date? Yeah, I'm figuring you had to see the judge in some form of fashion.
3 court dates so far, and they all got adjourned.
So, I mean, I don't get it. Once again, you have a legal license. That should clear everything up right then and there. Um, why do you think Joey did it? Is Joey Spanish or Caucasian? What's his race?
He's Caucasian.
He's who?
He's Caucasian. He's white.
He's white. You think Joey has a problem with black people?
I never really thought that at the beginning, but when I spoke to a few other people, even people who aren't law enforcement that have came across him, yeah, I'm beginning to think that now. And like, and maybe all these years he was just pretending to be my friend, but really hated me or disliked me for some reason. And you know what? It's funny because I don't put race into anything. I
Mhm.
really don't put race. I am, I'm conservative. I don't play that whole race card. I don't like to play the race card, but the way how I think about it, it's so funny now. I realize I just say to myself, if my skin was a, lighter complexion, you know, maybe even lighter than, what I'm describing, and my hair was slicked back, was probably maybe even red too, maybe I don't think I would have been stopped.
I mean,
I don't
I don't think I don't call that
mess.
stop. I call that targeted profile. I
Yeah,
mean, not even
yeah,
profile. You were
yeah.
targeted.
No, yeah. I wouldn't have been targeted, to be honest, because you know what? You would have looked at that guy, slick back hair or comb to the side, all right, and you would have looked at that guy and said he's a detective.
Let
He's
me ask
probably
you a
from.
question because you seem very familiar with NYPD protocols and policies. Does the MTA have a what they call that 50A that you could look into to see if he have any type of complaints against him?
I don't think the MTA has it, but I know that there's only one for. Well, the funny thing is, he used to be NYPD.
Did you look at his 50A?
Yeah, I did, but there's no complaints. But he hasn't been on the job for that long.
Yeah, I know a lot of
Been on.
NYPD officers. A lot of NYPD officers go to MTA because it's a way more relaxed job and way more safe than being a cop on the street. Now, let me ask you this. How can you trust police officers moving forward after one did this to you?
The way how I see it is, it's crazy because the way how I see it is I don't put everyone in a bunch, and I will never put anyone in a bunch. I've had great experiences with the men and women on this department. I've had great experiences with cops. All right, I've got great experiences with cops that are white, that are black, that are Muslim, that are Middle Eastern. That I've had experiences with cops that are Jewish. They still follow the religion. They wear the yarmulke. I live my life not hating anyone, not having a problem with people. I don't really, I'm a firm believer in the fact that life is way too short to be hating people, living your life in anger. And I don't have a problem with police officers. You know why? Because there are plenty of police officers. There's plenty of NYPD officers out there. There's plenty of MTA cops. You know, federal agents that I know, FBI, Secret Service, guys from different departments that would have never handled a situation like that. They would have never done that. They would have never done that. You know,
Now,
most guys,
what
yeah,
did this
continue.
cost? What did this cost you? Did you have a job or anything like that? Because obviously you got arrested with a felony. What kind of employment do you do besides taking pictures if you do anything outside of that?
I had two other security jobs. One of them I worked for a retired cop, and you have to have a valid security license for that. And then the other one I worked for an armored truck company, and that was Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And I was with that company. Um I took the job actually last year in May. I took the job with them, and I've been with them ever since, and we've been working for that company. So I lost both those jobs. My security license, they sent me a letter in the mail saying that I have to, like, have a letter explaining the situation and showing that I'm either going to some kind of rehab or community service or something. I haven't even heard back from them, but I just decided that yeah, I lost both those jobs. I lost the job with the retired cop, and I lost the armored truck job because my security license was suspended. And if you're suspended, you cannot be working there. As a matter of fact, with the armored truck company, I couldn't even be on the premises anymore.
Wow. Wow.
My boss didn't even want to let me go. My boss was so furious with that cop. She wasn't mad at me. She was so furious because she wanted to know the situation, you know? And when she heard, and she's like, wow, you have a legal firearm and they did that to you?
Wow. Now I believe that this is going to get resolved because, like I said, your gun license is valid. Do you plan on taking any type of action against um Joey and the MTA because he's licensed up under the MTA as a police officer? You plan on taking any legal action?
Oh, yes. I'm suing the hell out of all of them. Joey Casal, personally. I'm suing his department, and I'm also suing Nassau County. Oh yeah, by the way, he's an idiot. He doesn't take his own arrests. He doesn't take his own collars, basically. So he dumps them on other people. So he dumped it on Nassau County. So Nassau
Mm.
County will charge me, and I'm suing them too.
This is an insane story because you go about getting the firearm the way they want you to go get it, and you still get arrested in the process. You lose your job, you lose your security license. I mean, this is sickening. How about NYPD? Your relationship with them is good. Are they supporting you?
Yes, I have plenty from them. You know, you might have one or two idiots that agree that Joey so-called did his job. All right, but that's just not even like that's not even a full percentage, a full 1% of the rest of the guys out there. I've received plenty of support from each and every one else, and I said this is my motto and this is my mentality. Don't focus on the haters, focus on the ones who actually support you, the ones who actually care about you. All right, do you have that small percentage that said, oh, it was a justified stop, he was doing his job. At the end of the day, nothing's gonna come out of it. Who brings a gun to a funeral? You do, don't you? But and it makes no sense because the mentality of New York is good for thee, but not good for me. It's okay for you to carry, but as a civilian, it's like no, no, you don't carry. But that's how it is. They don't want anyone to have guns, and and it's funny because me and my coworker that worked in the armored truck company, me and him were talking about the same thing. And he was telling me, he's like, Akeem, I'm gonna be honest with you. It took a long time to get it, but it is so easy to lose. It is
Now,
so easy to lose.
you said something, very striking to me just now, where you said, you get some cops to say, it was a legal arrest. That troubles me because those be the same cops that change people lives once they put those handcuffs on them. When you think about profiling and them working in black communities, like how can they justify that being illegal or justified arrest when you are licensed, you wasn't at a sensitive location? And you're right, a lot of police officers think that they could do whatever they want and they don't want the general public or the civilians to do what they want. I mean, do the same thing that they do. Like, one thing that bothers me is that police officers drive and talk on the phone, whether it's their department issue phone or not. They don't get special training to be taught how to drive on the phone and answer text messages and stuff. But those be the same cops that be ready, willing, and able to give civilians tickets for doing the same thing. And that's just on a minor level. But when you have a small percentage of cops that's thinking in that way, it's problematic because they are an issue in some of these communities. And I'm glad that Joey got out of NYPD where he's not really dealing with or patrolling neighborhoods and stuff like that, because there's no telling the situation that he would have got into when we look at what he has done to you. He befriended you, he act like he was your friend, crack little jokes, was imposing his will on you, basically was using his police tools to run your license plate. I don't even know if that's ethical or legal or policy, anything like that. That don't even seem like that's policy. And he arrests you at the funeral of a cop. I mean, this story is mind-boggling. And for me, I get that I got a lot of police officer friends myself. A lot of people think I do not like the police, right? I have a lot of police officer friends, all types of ranks. I'll be at press conferences with them. I'll be in church with them. I'll be at events with them and things of that nature. But this, I've never heard of anything like this. And so what would be the odds of you getting your license back after this is all said and done?
Well, NYPD, I spoke to one of the guys from police headquarters. He just told me you're gonna be without your guns for a while. I guess that means that, I'll get them back, but they have to get a disposition saying that this whole thing has been tossed out.
This is insane. So yeah, what would you like to tell her? You got any final words for the people? You could give them, yeah, if you have a GoFundMe, a Cash App, or any final
Yeah,
words you want to leave the people.
I have a GoFundMe, a Cashapp, Zelle, and PayPal for anyone who would like to donate. But here's the thing: I'll be honest with anyone, and this is for the general public. These are for the people that are going out there and they're obtaining their concealed carry licenses. All right, listen. Number one rule is stay on top of those laws. All right, the laws are ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. I get it. I totally understand where you're coming from. But at the end of the day, you know what they're gonna say? The law is the law. All right. Stay on top of those laws. Know what you can and cannot carry. And this is what I tell people. This whole sensitive location that Hulk will put in is so beyond fucked up because of the reason why. You're gonna have that one person who's carrying their weapon, right? Right now, I'm sitting right near a bus stop, all right? And you have a person that is basically walking. Let's say if that person is walking and they're coming down the street, they make a stop at a bus stop, right? And for some reason, you know they just stand by the bus stop, and for some reason they get stopped or whatever the case is. It is a felony to be on transit property
Mm.
with a firearm. All right, it is a felony. So right now, if I had a concealed carry and I got out of my car and I walked and just stopped at the bus stop, decided to have a cigarette right there, it's a felony. It's a felony to be on any transit property. It's a felony to be on school grounds. It's a felony to be in a playground, in an amusement park. HOCO and these elected officials basically made it difficult. You know what they did? You know what I think the HOCO did, and all the other elected officials? I think basically what they did was they said, okay, well, you know what? You crybabies want your concealed carry so bad? Fine, we'll give it to you. But we're gonna put a whole lot of stipulations on where you can and cannot go. So now it's serving as a deterrent. It's basically saying, you know what? Listen, I'm going to tell you the application is expensive. All right, you spend nearly $1,000 on that license. You have to spend $500 for the course that you have to take, the 16-hour course, dry and live fire on the range, as well as the in-class time. $500. Then you have to spend money on the application fee. That application fee is what, $340. Then you have to spend nearly $90 on the fingerprinting fee. All right. Then you have to get all this. You have to get, if you're not living by yourself, you have to get a letter from the head of the household. You have to get the have a person sign that they're gonna safeguard your firearms. You're gonna if you don't have any let's say if you have a old transit summons, like you hopped the turnstile as a teenager years ago, right? And that ticket's not paid off. You have to pay that ticket off before they proceed. And if you do have, even if you've paid that ticket off years ago, right? You've paid that ticket off in 2018. You have to still go all the way down to Transit Adjudication Bureau, downtown Brooklyn. You have to get that disposition that all those tickets, or that one ticket, has been paid off. So you're spending a lot of money. So with these stipulations, what they're basically doing is it's basically a deterrent. All right. people are gonna look at it and be like, yo, man, I have to go all the way down. I live in the Bronx, and I have to go all the way. I have to hop on the 4 train and go all the way down to Borough Hall, or basically Nevin Street, and I have to go down to Transit Adjudication Bureau to get this one document. Like, really? I work 7 days a week. I work 7 days a week. Where am I gonna get the time? I could barely even take. I'm sick as a dog, and I could barely even take time off when I'm sick. What makes you think my job is gonna say yes to me being able to go all the way down to Transit Adjudication Bureau? They're gonna be like, "What's this for?" "Oh, I'm gonna get my concealed carry license." "Oh, well, that's your personal thing. That's your personal time." All right. Let's be real. It's a deterrent. The average, family household with 2 or more kids, where are they going to find the money to come up with all of that? Where are they going to find all that money to put in for a concealed carry application? And that doesn't even include the gun. All right. Depending on what you want, you're looking at anywhere from, if it's used, depending on where you're getting it from, 400 to, if it's brand new, 600-700.
Did you ever want to be a police officer? Did you ever want to be a police officer?
Of course, it's a dream job. Of course.
Do you think that after you clear up the situation, you're going to try it, or were you on the list or anything like that?
Well, I'm not on a list now, but I'm on the list for one agency. It was a federal agency, and I had to turn it down because I have a felony. So it's like, it makes no sense to even apply. It makes no sense to even go in for the interview, because if I don't disclose it, they're gonna disqualify me. And if I do disclose it and tell them, I have a felony, they're gonna be like, yeah, okay, have a nice day, sir.
Yeah, man, Joey should be ashamed of himself, and he was dead wrong for doing what he do. Overzealous cop, MTA police officer. I work for the MTA, so you know that I mean, I be on the MTA behind all the time. This is something that I am going to continue to amplify. You ever thought about going to the MTA board meeting and letting them know about their police officer?
I never thought about doing that. I've made a complaint to Internal Affairs. Realistically speaking, I hate to be the one to sound like this, but I think he should be fired for that. He should
Why
be
not?
fired.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted you in jail, so why wouldn't you want him fired? I mean, a police officer is an honorable job, and you should follow the law. You should not be acting the way that he was acting. If he did that to you with a legal firearm, imagine what he would do with someone with a legal firearm. I think that's why we see these cop shootings, because of people who think like Joey.
Listen, the way how I think he's gonna do it to the wrong person one day. I hate to say it, but he's gonna do it to the wrong person. He did it to me because he knew that I wasn't gonna fight back. He knew that I wasn't that type of person that's gonna turn around and swing.
I mean, you would have been foolish to do that. Let's be honest. That wasn't the, huh?
Oh yeah, 100%. With the way how he was, to be honest, if I was the type of person, I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now. So
Yeah,
that's
I
just
agree. I think that you handled this.
that he has. If he was rogue like that, could you imagine if I was that type of person that would have resisted or anything like that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think that you handled this properly. And this one of those situations where you got to let the justice system do what it does. And I believe that you're going to be fully exonerated, and he's going to be held accountable in one form or the other. So, once again, good luck to you. And can you tell the people once again how they could donate to your cause, your GoFundMe, or whatever the case may be?
My Cashapp, I have Cashapp, I have Zelle, I have PayPal, and I have my GoFundMe link, which will be on the bottom of this podcast.
Yeah, we go put the link at the bottom of the podcast. We're going to support him. I'm going to blast this out in my network. And we're going to keep you in our prayers, because this is wrong. And I hope that you get everything back plus more. Thanks for talking with us today.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Yes.